Hi guys, let's study Pillsbury's mate today. Pillsbury's mate pattern is very similar to Morphy's mate, but with important distinction. I think it's really worth knowing both. So for those of you who haven't watched my Morphy's mate video, you might want to check that out first, just so that you have context on what I'm going to talk about. The Pillsbury's mate pattern goes like this. We have the opponent's king, which is castled kingside. We have a bishop controlling the long diagonal a1 to h8. We have a semi-open g-file, and we can sacrifice one of our rook to open that g-file. And importantly, we also have another rook to ultimately deliver a checkmate. Let's see this in action. First we go rook takes g7 check. Now black only has one legal move, king h8. Now we sacrifice the rook. Rook g8 check. Again, this is a double check, so the king has to move, so only one legal move here. King takes g8, and then rook g1, and it's a checkmate. Now before we proceed further, I just want to talk about the important distinction between Pillsbury's mate and Morphy's mate. So if we go back to the original position, let's assume that we haven't studied checkmate patterns at all, so we confuse Pillsbury's mate and Morphy's mate, and in this position, dangerously, we thought that there is a Morphy's mate. Let's see what's going to happen if we perform a Morphy's mate pattern. The first move is the same. Rook takes g7. Now king h8. Now if you remember from Morphy's mate video, first we have to clear the f pawn so that it cannot go forward and block the check. So rook takes f7 check. Now only one legal move, king g8. Now we go back here, rook g7 check. Now king h8 again. And then the last move is that we pull back anywhere with the rook. Let's say rook g5. Now you see the problem with that in this position? Well, yes, because this bishop is takeable by the knight, then simply knight takes. And worse, there's a queen as well. So we're like totally losing in this position. So that's the important distinction and analysis that you have to do beforehand. With Morphy's mate, the checkmate is delivered with the bishop. So if the bishop is takeable in the first place, then it's not possible. With Pillsbury's mate, the checkmate is delivered with the rook. Let's see the Pillsbury's mate pattern again. Here, instead of clearing the pawn, going back and pulling back, we just sacrifice the rook, right? And then the checkmate is delivered with the rook, not the bishop. So it doesn't matter that the bishop is actually takeable. And that's the important thing you have to calculate beforehand. If you can checkmate with the bishop, then do the Morphy's mate. If you can checkmate with the rook, then do Pillsbury's mate. Of course, with Pillsbury's mate, then you have to have two rooks as well, because you have to sacrifice one of them in advance. Sometimes you actually have choice to do both, which is great, right? Choice is always good. But yeah, I just want to emphasize the danger of mixing up the pattern and doing Morphy's mate when the position is not correct for that. Just like the case here. Let's look at another pattern for Pillsbury's mate now. Now the bishop is no longer on a long diagonal, at least not yet. It's now on the short diagonal near the opponent's king. And still we have the open g-file, so we can go rook g1, check. King h8, only one legal move. And now we reposition the bishop. Bishop g7, check. Again, only one legal move, which is king g8. And now bishop takes f6, and it's a checkmate. So the end result of the second pattern looks very similar to the first pattern. The only difference is that the bishop is on the other diagonal, so we have to reposition it. But yeah, it still ends up in a Pillsbury's mate. Now let's practice, shall we? Here we're playing as black. White just takes our queen. Queen takes d6, and that's a blunder. Now here there is a force mate with Pillsbury's mate. Can you find it? Feel free to pause the video first to analyze the position, and then we'll solve it together. Okay, let's see if we have the requirements to perform Pillsbury's mate. First, we need a bishop, or actually a queen is also okay, but we have a bishop here that controls the long diagonal, a8, h1 diagonal. We do have that. And then we need a rook in a semi-open g-file that we can sacrifice to open the g-file. Yes, we have that. And then we have another rook to deliver the checkmate. And yes, we have that. The last thing we have to calculate is that when we go from rook d8 to rook g8 to deliver the checkmate, is there anything black can put in our pot? Here there is no such thing. I mean, obviously you can put the queen and the bishop in front of the pot, but those pieces are not guarded, so we can just take it to deliver a checkmate. So now that we have calculated and concluded that indeed there is a force mate, only then we perform the action. Rook takes g2, check. King h1. Sacrifice the rook, rook g1, check. Only one legal move. King takes g1. Rook g8, check. Now it's not yet a checkmate again because black can put... actually, it should be queen first, right? If he wants to lengthen the game further, but it's a pretty silly move, obviously. Most people would just resign. And here is a checkmate. Another position to practice, white to move and win with Pillsbury mate pattern. Feel free to pause the video, analyze the position, and then we'll solve it together. Okay, let's analyze the position. Do we have the requirements for Pillsbury's mate? We already have a bishop that controls the long diagonal. We have a semi-open G file. We actually have two pieces, not just the rook, but the queen and the rook on the G file. And then we have another rook ready to go to the G file to give the checkmate. Now, unfortunately, black have a knight to guard this pawn, but again, we have one extra attacking piece here, which is the queen, which is why it's possible to do Pillsbury's mate here. And lastly, after the G file is open and we're ready to checkmate the black king, is there anything that black can put in front of our pot to block the checkmate? Well, there is that queen there, but yeah, the queen is not guarded by anything, so we can just take it straight away after. So to conclude, yes, we have all the requirements for Pillsbury's mate, and now we perform the action. First, queen takes g7, check. We sacrifice the queen. Now black has to take. We take again with the rook. King h8. We sacrifice the rook. This is a double check. So black has only one move. And now rook g1, check. Not yet a checkmate because the queen can go to a g5. But then rook takes, and then it's a checkmate. Okay, last position we're going to look at. This one is actually from a game from Pillsbury himself, the namesake of the mate pattern. White to play and win. And as you can see, white is down a queen, but there is a forced checkmate here. Can you find it? Feel free to pause the video, analyze the position, and then we'll discuss it. Okay, let's analyze the position. Here the bishop is in the short diagonal, not the long diagonal. So we have to transport the bishop to the long diagonal to give a checkmate to the black king. This is the second pattern that we saw earlier in this video. G file is open and black cannot put anything in the middle of our pot. Maybe it can put the queen there, but then the queen is not guarded, so we'll just take. So we start by going rook g1, check. King h8. Now we transport the bishop to the other diagonal. Bishop g7, check. Only one move now, which is king g8. And now we go bishop takes f6. Now bishop controls long diagonal, and white would be in checkmate, except that the queen can be can deflect it for one more move, and then we take queen, and then it's a checkmate. Okay guys, that's all for Pillsbury's mate. Again, it's very important to distinguish between Pillsbury's mate, which we look at this video, versus Morphy's mate. The pattern is very similar, but it's important not to mix them up in a game. Sometimes only one is available and not the other. Please subscribe to my channel and check out my Checkmate Patterns playlist, where I analyze in depth different checkmate patterns. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.